Greetings, rise and shine, brethren. We are the World Global Reset Restoration Network family, comprised of 198 sovereign nations with over 7 billion sovereign principles, being of one mind, one heart, and one spirit, walking together under the divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I come to you as a voice in the wilderness to introduce to you a man. No, not just any man, but a man sent by Yah Allah to redeem mankind. Dr. I.L. Henderson, the Adak Chief Justice of the Universal World Court, and who's also known as Yehoshua Mashiach, the Son of Man. The information that you will be receiving in this and other videos you won't get from anywhere else on the planet. Hear the many truths and fulfillment of the laws, judgments, and sentencings from our Creator, Father Yah, as well as the fulfillment of the true interpretation of the Holy Scriptures and books. Now, without further ado, Dr. I.L. Henderson with his beloved host, Shelley Bowling.
My question is, I've heard what you said about the Internal Revenue Service, and the question I have is, what's going to happen to all the organizations who have the designation of 501c3?
Outstanding, my brother. That's a great question, and believe it or not, that's a great question. We get that question every day, and it's a great question. And I want to say to you, since you're a first-time caller, all of the organizations that are out there under the 501c3, I would say to those organizations as well, they will have to sign under the 501c4, under that. If they do not sign under the 501c4, even though they might call themselves an entity, even though they might call themselves an organization, they will not be under any type of monetary system. My advice to them is get under a monetary system, because being under a non-monetary system, it is just what it is. It's non-monetary. That means you won't be receiving any type of credit. You will not be receiving any type of monetary funds. So thereby, you will be running at your own expense, which nobody will be bartering. No one will be trading with you. There will be no import, no export for you. So that tells you that you're out there all alone, and eventually you will have to fold because you won't have anything going for you. IRS, the same way. Every entity that's out there now that has been operating 800 years and ago, in other words, I'm saying all the way up to this 800 years that we're in right now, have been operating under the IRS. The IRS, that's why when you go to a job or you get a business, the first thing they want you to do, you fill out a bunch of forms. One of them is something known as a W-2 form. Right. The reason they have having you fill out that W-2 form because all of them are agents. They are agents of IRS, which don't exist. There is no such thing as IRS. That is why you have senators like Ted Cruz out of the state of Texas is letting the people know that, and everybody's angry with him about doing it. He's just giving the people the truth, giving the people a heads up. He knows already what has happened, and what he's doing is he's allowing everybody to run and get out of these starting blocks at the same time. He's saying to you, as soon as your gun is fired, the start pistol, if we might say that so nobody gets panicky, but as soon as this starting pistol fires, I'm giving you an opportunity to get out of these starting blocks at the same time everybody else does. That means everybody has an equal opportunity to get to that finish line along with the others or before if you want to. That's up to you how you run the race. But 501c3 will be a dead entity. And since you're a first-time caller, if you don't mind, I do go through breaking it down to its simplest term for those of the first-time callers. The 501c3 has a representation or an identity to it. The identity that the 501c3 has, it was like this. The 501, that was the 5 actually represents grace. Grace. If anyone has been around the biblical numbers and knows what they're about, 5 means grace. The 01 stood for God. So that was the grace of God. That was 501. The C stood for covenant. Covenant. The covenant of God. And the 3 represents God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. So they were calling it the 501c3, which was under a couple of trusts known as St. Germain, St. Peter's, and the place that everybody knows is to be St. Peter's at the Vatican City. And that meant that the whole popes, all of the popes, was holding this great thing that we call IRS by the tail, or should we say by the head. And whatever money that the people were paying in, the 10%, 20%, whatever they were collecting, it was going back to Vatican City, and that's why Vatican City stands on its own, because it's getting everybody's money. Right. Well, they decided to disband it and close it down. We did that. We did that in 2002. This is what the world Universal Trust is all about. It's called the Trust of Melchizedek, and I know they got one in Florida called themselves Melchizedek. That is not the one that everyone should be dealing with. No offense to the ones who are using that trust. But the one that you need to be connecting to is the one that's coming out of the World Trust, the World United, which is known as Melchizedek Trust. It is the 501c4 trust. How is that? What's its identity, and what does it represent? The 5 again, 501. The 5 is again grace. 01 being the grace of God. The C is still for covenant. The 4 is for double covenant. In other words, what that does, it is a double covenant to cover the people, so the people will be protected themselves, rather than allowing some people that call themselves God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, and no, they was not talking about Jesus the Christ. They were talking about the popes and their hands full of dice. I didn't just say that, but anyway. You're right. They were gambling with the people. So I call them the popes with the dice rather than Jesus Christ. So for all those that didn't catch that, then they can stop laughing, because it had a seriousness to it. So I was talking about, again, not Jesus the Christ, but the popes with a handful of dice. And they were gambling with the people's lives, gambling with the people's money, by not allowing the people to have it for health care and for to protect themselves. So this is why the 501c4 has taken over, and it has disbanded the 501c3. The 501c3 is truly dead. So if someone stays under it, can do that. But at the same time, they will have no entities to deal with. They will have no monetary system. So it's like something that it will not be operating anymore. And right now, yes, they're still trying to operate. That's why they're force feeding everybody with what they call bills, B-I-L-L-S.
Yeah.
Debt. They're trying to force everybody with debt by saying, you got to pay this, you got to do this now. We'll come get you. We're going to pick you up. And they knowing that all the time, once they pick these people up, we're going to release them. And those that pick them up, we're going to make sure we put them in a fiery pit. Because they know that they have been disbanded. They already know this. They know what the law says. They're just trying to see if they can keep the majority with them, which they don't. Now, according to you being on the 501c4, and all those that are listening to me now, to include all 197 nations. When you speak of John Kerry and Obama or whomever that's still believing that they're under the 501c3, signing any type of documents, their documents means nothing. They mean nothing to you. Yes, they sign those documents, but I need you to understand, and I want you to go back and think with me now, because I'm about to take you back to the beginning of what got us to this point now. And I'm not just talking about got us to this point of separating based upon the 501c4. I want you to even go back further than that, okay? And I want you to go back to about the time of something that is known as 1976, was bicentennial year. And then when you get to the bicentennial year, I want you to even back yourself up a little further to about 1776. And I need you to understand that that was a document that forged the whole new world to take a look, stand down, and do certain things to protect the people. That document is known again as the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence. And once I can finally get all of my history teachers out there to finally sit down and read this document in its entirety, we are going to be able to not only answer these questions that you're asking, because I'm pretty sure you probably already know the answers, but you want to make sure that you have it clear in your head what is taking place and what is required of you. I already know. You just want to make sure that if what I am doing is right, this is what I want to know. How do I complete this? When is it going to be completed? How will it be completed? I already know what your true answers, your questions are, and I'm going to give you your answer. Now, based upon the Declaration of Independence, and I want everyone who's listening now, and especially the United Nations, please take out your pens, because I got friends like my sister there in London by the name of Sonia. I've been working on her stuff all week. I know that they're in court and going to trials and all these things, and I need her in particular to understand and understand what's happening and how she's got to be protected. And yes, they're going to try to attack, but at the end of the day, she will realize that she will be victorious, and all the people that are going through the exact same things that she's going through is all going to be protected based upon the laws of the land. This is where the Declaration of Independence come in at. And when I say Declaration of Independence, the Declaration of Independence was not just written for the United States of America. That's first and foremost. We have to get clear for everyone on this call and on this particular 501c4 and 501c3 subject. You have to first understand that that Declaration of Independence was wrote for every nation on this planet. Every nation fell under the Declaration of Independence. And I want to start out by reading it once again. And I'm believing in the Spirit of Yah, YHWH, the true God of this universe. Everybody at some point in time is going to sit down in his busy schedule, take out some time of it, and read this. It says, when in the course of human events it becomes powers of the earth, the separate and equal stations to switch the laws of nature and of nature's God entitled them a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the cause which impel them to separation. Now, I quit saying that. The 501c3 and the 501c4 is just what it is. It's a separation. So let me make this perfectly clear, United Nations. If you're one of those individuals who have decided to stay connected to the 501c3, whether it be what you consider to be by your own powers, or you deem that somebody has forced you to do it, you stay there. But I will explain to you that 197 nations and the righteous people of this universe has decided to separate themselves from any political bands or any other kind of bands that has caused them to be tied to this unrighteous group. They have used this means to separate themselves. So as I'm answering my brother's question based upon the signing of that particular document that was signed under the 501c3, it does not reflect us, neither do it have our opinion, neither do it have our belief, and it definitely doesn't have our cooperation. So they can sign whatever they want to. If everyone had not been so quick to be celebrating when they had Obama going into the White House, they would have realized that the same year he went in, the first thing that he asked the Congress to do was they sat down and began to do one thing. And that was to review the Constitution of the United States of America. That's why they were so eagerly trying to keep Judge John Roberts from taking his seat. As he did early when he did with George W. Bush Jr. Thank you again, President George W. Bush Jr. Because if Judge John Roberts had not been there at that time, in that moment, when they were trying to review the Constitution right now probably wouldn't even be in effect for the 501c3 period. Because that's what they have almost succeeded to do. So for all the people out there who's still talking about the great Constitution of the United States of America, if you're talking about it, you must be under the 501c4 to even exercise that right. This is where we're at. Please, United Nations, listen to what I am saying, so you understand that you are also under the 501c4. I will get to some things this week that you realize that has happened, and it has happened even in the monetary side of the house, and it happened for the simple fact that monetary side of the house has accepted the fact that they're under the 501c4 and not under the 501c3. So thereby, they are legally operating under the means of peace, love, truth, freedom, and justice. And they also understand that they're operating under something known as we are the right. Now, for those people that knows what Dr. Henderson has been doing for the past month, if I might call it, now, because I jumped from 1 month of dealing with nothing but the authority to dealing with those that consider themselves to be an authority. And that's one of the letters that I sent to the acting leaders. If you read it, you'll understand what I'm saying to them. The acting leaders, based upon the fact that even I'm talking mostly to the Pope. I'm mostly talking to the Vatican City, because the Vatican City under the 501c3 is the controlling motor, the controlling engine, the controlling running mechanism for everything that falls under the church. Whether you be Lutheran, Catholic, Buddhist, you be Islamic, whether you consider yourself to be Baptist, whether you consider yourself to be Jew, Gentile, all that right now has been controlled and it is operated under the Roman Catholic Church, their doctrine, their laws. So if you are under the 501c3, you will be operating with them under this and under that accord. You can't get out of it if you're working with them. You must separate yourself. That is what everything has done. The 501c4 has separated everybody. And I need you to perfectly understand this, that we're not asking you to join us. You join because of your own conviction of your heart. If you're one of those people that believe in what's righteous, you believe in all men should be able to live under his own vine and fig tree and worship in that manner, if you believe that we should be able to govern our families, our daughters, our sons, our sisters, our brothers, our aunties, our uncles, our grandmothers and grandfathers, if we believe that we should be able to govern a life where we all can live in a community of happiness, then you're talking about being under the 501c4. Now, those guys have separated themselves. They are the 501c3. I'm not going to take that away from them. That's their business. But at the end of the day, they need to understand that they have no true power. Because 197 nations have decided to go under the 501c4. They have decided to separate themselves from that connection of something that they call Vatican City. And none of them no longer is having parades on Sundays and sometime on great days that they call holidays just to invite someone they call the Pope to ride around in a mobile and collect funds. This is why for the past month now, Dr. Henderson has been reaching out to all the ministers of the world, i.e. popes, cardinals, pontiffs, prophets, evangelists, prophetesses. That's who Dr. Henderson has been reaching out to, based upon the book of Malachi. That's part of the doctrine in which everyone must come under. Yes, they were attacked at one point. This is why the government was asking those American ministers to pass in their sermons. It was asking them to pass in their sermons not to shut them down. It was trying to find out how many of them was in agreement to keep the people under control of a corrupt system. And it must have been obvious that either the majority of them didn't know what was being asked of them or they accepted it. Which I can tell them because of Yah, God, the true God of this universe. I don't care if you do accept it. It will not happen because it is not the command, neither is it the will of the Father.
Hey, you know, when you were talking a few minutes ago about the 7-year period for the people that have not made it on the redemption list, made me think of something. You know, once we shut down the old fiat monetary system, the old wineskin, if you want to call it that, the people that may not have gotten on the redemption list will be greatly benefited from that one happening alone. Because anything tied to that old monetary system will vanish because of the Jubilee. So if they've got mortgage debt or school loans or any of those things, they will disappear with that old system. So they're going to be in a much better position than they were before. And even with the shutting down of the UCC and the old Admiralty law system and everything, corporations are not going to have that heavy tax burden, compliance burden that they've had on them. So that alone, just those changes alone, will make the businesses much more profitable and greatly increase the job market.
That's correct. And you know, and this is what we've been getting everybody to understand. Even the ones that's getting those bills, it's outrageous. Some of I'm receiving all of this in, and they have to understand that when they send it to me, what court they're actually sending it to. They need to understand it is the highest court in the land. And I'm reading some of it, and just the audacity of some of the court system. You're going to charge somebody $340,000, over a course of period of the time that they've been in their building. And they've been living there, some of them 20, 30 years, and now you want to still try to say that they owe you $340,000 for the place they live in when you cannot possess it. You cannot purchase it. You cannot buy from them. But I see paperwork coming in here, it's got lawyer's name on it. Let me say this on the line, because I got a lot of lawyers. Let me just put it this way. A lot of people that are practicing law under the BAR, and I have to get them to understand once again, that BAR is owned by myself. We own that. The 504 owns the BAR. We own it now. Queen Elizabeth can no longer pay for it. And it has been purchased by the 504. That's what we did. We bought them out of debt. Even they don't have to worry about anything. That's what net zero means. We purchased them out of every debt that they had. We purchased them out of it. It's like we became that bank that bought all bad debt. We bought everything. We purchased them out of it.
But they still have to remove themselves now from that membership rule. Is that correct? Yes.
Correct. They must do that because that's a redemption for them. If they do not redeem themselves, they are going to be steamrolled over. They already understand what's happening right now.